Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Star? You're never gonna get my love. Alexa, off. Hi, happy Wednesday. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today, so thankfully I had a call with a client earlier this morning, and I came up with a really great topic. She helped me. And that's imposter syndrome. Now, you might not know what I'm referring to, and that it even had a name, but if you've ever had that question, like, what if I'm just not good? What if I'm just not good enough? What if I'm not as talented as I think I am? What if I'm not as great as everybody says that I am? What if I'm not deserving enough of this opportunity? Who do I think I am? Then you have experienced imposter syndrome. Is that the truth? Is it the truth that you're not talented enough, that you don't deserve an opportunity, that everybody thinks you're great but they're wrong? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no. No, that's not the truth. The truth is that our conscious mind can be a pain sometimes and not our very good friend. Although sometimes our very good friends say those things too. I was watching the story of Vince Papale, Invincible. That's what it was. That was on cable last night. And I've seen it before, and I love that movie. And he suffered from that. But he still went to the tryouts. He still made it past the first cut. Even as he went past the first cut, he is just like, yeah, I'll be home tomorrow. Like life goes on as usual. Thought he was getting called into the office to be cut, and in fact, he was being given a chance to play in the season, in the game. And he had this note that he kept with him that inspired him to fight and keep going and try to prove the note wrong. And the note said, Vince, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never be anything. You don't deserve success. It had 4 different things on it, and I'm paraphrasing. But he read that note every time he was about to quit. And that note kept him going. And so sometimes the bad things that happen to us in life, that or the bad influences or the bad feedback, or the people in our lives that tell us that we'll never be X, or that'll never happen for us, or that's for other people, sometimes those are fuel for our fire that keep us fighting and going on. Sometimes we are successful because of these things, and sometimes they break us. And sometimes we believe them, and sometimes we never try for what we really want or deserve because we've believed that. And so imposter syndrome can work both ways, but it all really depends on how you use it. So if you've had those people in your life that have said, you won't be X. I'm the youngest of 2 brothers, and so that song Just a Girl by No Doubt, where it's like, I'm just a girl, that rung really true for me, because I wasn't allowed to drive late at night, and my dad still is like, you're going jogging at 10 p.m. don't you know, crazy people, where's your weapon? And I'm like, I'm in my neighborhood, and I know bad things happen, and I'm not going to victimize myself my whole life just because something bad might happen to me because I'm a girl. I don't think he'd be telling my brother not to run at night. So that's something that, I'm taught, like, the world is out to get me. And I can't, I shouldn't, take risks with my life. I shouldn't take a job in the city, West Philly. I shouldn't do that. I did that for 2 years, and it was one of my best experiences. I shouldn't, take the train from a concert late at night, whatever it happens to be. But things that really could be awesome experiences are on the other side of that fear. And if I let that fear stop me, then I'm missing out on really living I'm already victimized because I'm letting it. And the thoughts run in the same way if we let them, They're not necessarily bad either. Sometimes they can save us from dangerous situations. Sometimes it might be like, yeah, that's a scary part of town. Maybe you should arm yourself or prepare yourself, or, I don't know, for a woman, it's usually like dress ugly, honestly. Whatever it happens to be, you can take precautions and listen to that. But if you let it stop you from actually having experiences, then you're limiting your growth. You're limiting your physical experience here in this life. You're limiting your contribution. So I'm here to plead with you to, number one, notice it first and foremost. The awareness of it is key. Maybe you don't even realize that it's running. I had a coach that used to call these gremlins. She did an exercise where she assigned me an exercise to write something that my gremlin was saying on a balloon, and then make like an angry face, like a gremlin, like what I picture my gremlin to be on the balloon, and then pop it. And then there's other things where you can burn it. I don't know if that works for you. That's great. Really, hypnosis is something that I use for those thoughts. It's instant. Affirmations are another tool that you can use when you recognize those thoughts, is that you have to listen to it and just accept it, because it's you talking to you, right? And you can realize that you're not your thoughts through mindfulness, and just be aware of your thoughts. They're not you. They're separate from you, but they're a part of you talking to you, and you can ignore them, and you can override them, and you can say, thanks for warning me that this could lead to failure, and therefore I might be disappointed. However, I'll be okay. I'll be okay if I fail. I'll be okay if that's not the right thing to do. And I learned that that's fine. I still want this experience. I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I deserve this. I'm enough. I'm enough is a big one. I do enough. I have enough. I am enough. I mean, how many of us make ourselves feel bad about not doing enough, or not having enough, or not being enough? So being able to turn these around, notice them, turn them around. If you're here with me live or afterwards, make a comment. If you're noticing something that you might say to yourself during these times, this imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't deserve something good, or that maybe you didn't deserve something you already had. A lot of people have had these thoughts running their entire lives and have become so used to them that they don't even notice them. So that's why I want right now for you to just kind of listen. You think about the thing you want most in this world, the pipe dream, as they call it, and listen to what your thoughts tell you. Now that is your conscious brain saving you, protecting you from what could be potential failure, or it could be protecting you from social isolation, because at one point social isolation meant death, way back when. However, it doesn't mean death anymore. It can feel sad and lonely, but this is a big world, and we can always find a new community to embrace us. But social isolation is another thing that our brain tries to protect us from. Like, that's not socially acceptable, or your friends would think this, or your family would think this, and they might. But you still might be listening to your friends who are trying to look out for you too, right? And protect you from disappointment. Really, there's no such thing. To get used to disappointment is to kill your motivation. It kills your motivation. Neurologically, neuroscience will tell you that if you kill the idea that something good is going to happen, your motivation centers of your brain shut down. Okay? But if you convince yourself that something good is possible, you will get energized. You will get motivated. Your brain will start to get into a planning mode. It will start to find resources, look for resources, get into problem-solving mode. So any challenges or obstacles that do exist, and you still need awareness around them, you see ways around them, and you can get over them and get to where you want to go. So I've covered a lot today. so far in 9 minutes, way more than just imposter syndrome. But I want you to understand these things, that, you know, your brain, your conscious mind is there to protect you. And so you have to be aware of the way it's protecting you, and you have to be able to use your higher level of thinking, your cognitive thought, to say, yeah, thanks, but this is in my highest good. Now, I just did a hypnotherapy session up on my other page about intuition and tuning into your intuition, using it to access instant answers for things that are really in your highest good. So if you're interested in that, go over to facebook.com/Huller Hypnotherapy or Hypnotherapy with Karen Huller, and check that out. That way you'll know if your conscious mind is steering you in the right direction, or if it's really just your fear driving you. And fear is a very bad place to make decisions from. It's not a bad emotion, generally. Like I said, it can really save us. But sometimes it saves us from things that give us our full life, our full living experience. So notice when imposter syndrome is at work, and decide who's going to be in control, you or the imposter, the gremlin. And again, you can consciously override these thoughts with diligence in your self-awareness and reaffirming the positive things, that you are talented, that you do deserve an opportunity, that if anybody is out there doing it, then why not you? Why not you, right? Because you do deserve it, because you are talented, because your life is a gift, because you're here for a reason. And whatever thoughts that are powerful for you, in turning around those negative thoughts and negative statements, negative self-talk, then use that, or use hypnotherapy to turn those thoughts around instantly. So diligence or hypnotherapy, whatever. Whatever works for you. But don't let the feeling that you might not be good enough stop you from pursuing something that could give you the greatest joy in life. It's a good place to stop. Till next week, leave your thoughts and comments, of course. Share, subscribe, follow.